In today's video, Wish stock's lawsuit deadline is tomorrow. The stock was down 5% yesterday, but should you HODL or should you sell? Furthermore, Oatly was accused of overstating revenue. Is this true or is this short seller just manipulating the stock? Next, China's mining market share drops and I'll quickly go through the numbers. And finally, some more news coming right up. Welcome back everyone, I'm your host Edward, and on this channel I talk about stocks and crypto news, so if that's something you're interested in, feel free to subscribe and hit that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. And yeah, let's not waste any more time and dive right in. So as usual, I'm just gonna go through the markets, and today the Dow Jones, the Nasdaq, and the S&P are just a little flat today, nothing too crazy going on. But in terms of the crypto market, it is bleeding today. The whole entire market is down about 3%, and Bitcoin is down pretty heavily as well as Ethereum. And the last couple of weeks I did talk about the Wyckoff accumulation model, but it seems like it's not playing out right now. But yeah, we'll see what happens because we might hit 30k again. But that is a very important level and there's a lot of resistance. So if Bitcoin does close below 30k, that is a little worrying. But the long-term fundamentals are still there, so that's that. So the main article that I want to talk about today is Wish, because for those that don't know, they are currently being sued by their shareholders because they were misleading them. So over here, back in December, they sold about 46 million shares at about $24 per share, raising more than $1 billion. And I guess in their filings, they said they had about 108 million monthly active users. And then fast forward to March, they had their quarterly earnings, and the monthly active users in December already declined 10% year over year, which resulted in 104 million versus 108 million. But in terms of their earnings and their guidance, they were fine in my opinion. So anyone that bought the IPO during December 16th to May 12th, they can actually file a claim. So yesterday, a lot of shareholders kind of priced the news in and it dropped about 5%. And right now, Wish stock is trading at about $6 billion market cap at about $10 per share. I did do a video about Wish stock about 2 weeks ago, and I did say that the company is undervalued because if we look at their earnings, they had a total revenue of about $2.5 billion and they're only trading at $6 billion market cap. The only downside is that the business isn't making any income. And in terms of their balance sheet, they barely have any debt at all, and they can literally pay that off today because they have about $2 billion in cash. And in 2020, they were almost free cash flow positive. I don't think Wish stock is a bad stock at all. And I understand that this is kind of a meme stock, but I mean, in the end, if the lawsuit does favor, Wish stock, then obviously this stock is gonna pump up to the moon. And I believe in the options market, they're pricing it at about $34 tomorrow. But yeah, I won't be surprised if this stock goes to like $20 tomorrow if the lawsuit is in favor of Wish. And yeah, I do have a soft spot for, software businesses because they do have higher margins and they have really low OPEX because they only rely on the software. But in the end, there is also a huge risk. So let's say if the lawsuit is in favor of the shareholders, from here on out, I don't think the price will drop too heavily. Definitely not less than $5 per share. But this is my rough estimate. I don't think it'll go anything lower than 7. But this is all my opinion. Please take it with a grain of salt. And they also have a really great current ratio. Like, I don't think this company will go bankrupt anytime soon. But as a long-term hold, I can definitely see Wish stock going up if they continue to kind of, bring in other revenue streams and beat out their competitors. But yeah, that's my quick opinion on Wish stock. But yeah, best of luck for everyone holding this stock. Just remember to not, panic sell. But obviously do your own due diligence and research because, I'm not a financial advisor. So next I want to talk about Oatly because apparently this short seller is saying that they overstated their revenue. And the short seller stated that Oatly is one of those inflated bubble stocks. And the company actually came out and denied the allegations, saying it's false and misleading. So diving into the accounting allegations, apparently back in 2018, they reported $12 million of revenue in the US. But based on other publications, Oatly's net US sales were only $6 million, so that's like double. Additionally, this short seller said that they overstated their gross margins because they didn't include outbound shipping and handling costs in its calculations, and in the end they said the gross margin is actually 6.4% lower when logistics and shippings are factored in. And obviously when it comes to accounting practices in the US, other major accounting firms will have to kind of audit their work, and the current auditor is EY, which is one of the biggest private accounting firms firms in the world. I'm gonna give this short seller the benefit of the doubt because based on what I read, it is a little bit sketchy. But until we get confirmation that this is true, I'm not gonna make a stance on it. But saying that this stock is worth less than $10 per share is a little bit too much. And if we go into the stock, right, they're trading at an $11 billion market cap, which is pretty high in terms of a company that only sells oat milk. And looking into their income statement, they did double their revenue from 2019 to 2020, which is why a lot of investors are probably pricing this stock really high. And kind of comparing this to Wish, right? This company is making $2 billion in revenue, and Wish is only worth $6 billion versus a company that's at $12 billion and is not even a software company. And I'm pretty sure their OPEX is very high because they do need workers, manufacturers, plants to kind of ship their products to their consumers. Not only that, they have a current ratio of less than 1, meaning they have less assets than liabilities, which is a bit worrying, especially a company that's currently bleeding money and doesn't even generate a profit. I can definitely see why not a lot of investors like this stock, and I feel like a lot of people are betting on the revenue growth. And yeah, just to double check, they have no free cash flow either. So this is a super long-term play in my opinion if you're buying this stock today at this price. And to be completely transparent, I rather own Wish stock than Oatly stock, given the fact that Wish is a software business and Oatly isn't, and I'm pretty sure the margins are very low, especially if they're only selling oat milk. But yeah, that's my quick take on Oatly based on what I'm seeing, and this is all my opinion. But yeah, I do sound a little bearish on the stock, and I could be wrong, so this is why you should always do your own research. Next in the article, it seems like Bitcoin's mining share decreased from 75% to 46%, and obviously this is due to their crackdown. But I want to quickly go through the numbers and see where most of these Bitcoin miners are heading to. And based on the key points, it seems like the US is currently second place, and it quadrupled its numbers, sitting at about 16% right now. Kyrgyzstan is currently third place at 8.2%. So I believe these two countries are where most Bitcoin miners are heading to now. And in the next article, I just want to warn everyone about SIM swaps. Especially if you're new to Bitcoin, I think you should understand this. This is actually a way where hackers can kind of take your Bitcoins, especially if you leave them in an exchange like Coinbase or Binance. So what these scammers would do would purchase a new prepaid SIM card, and the scammer will contact the company's customer service line and kind of act like they're the customer, and they will try to convince the representative to kind of port their number into the new prepaid SIM card, and that's how they kind of get your phone number and authenticate themselves into your account. And obviously they'll transfer all the Bitcoins to their own address, and that's how you pretty much get hacked. Right now in this article, someone is suing T-Mobile because one of their agents probably kind of didn't do their due diligence and kind of ported the number into the prepaid SIM card. Another SIM swap attack could happen within the company, meaning the scammer works for T-Mobile, and they actually have all your information and they can simply do it on the spot. This is probably one of the reasons why you should have a cold wallet just in case, because no one can actually hack your cold wallet. But if you don't want one, just simply use Google Authenticator or some type of authentication app where the hacker has to have your phone in order to get into your account. So just some security tips, especially if you're in Bitcoin. So next I want to talk about this tweet because when I read it, it kind of just explains exactly why gold failed. So the reason why is because it was centralized and the governments were in control of that asset, but Bitcoin solves this issue because it's decentralized and it removes gold's failure. But I think everyone should read the book called Bitcoin Standard, and I read this a couple of months ago and it blew my mind. But especially if you're in Bitcoin, I think you have to read it or you're not gonna fully understand the fundamentals on why Bitcoin is such in high demand. So lastly, in this article, it seems like GM is warning both EV owners to not park them inside or charge them unattended overnight. And obviously everyone is pricing the news in because GM is down about a percentage today. Anyone that bought a Bolt EV from 2017 to 2019 are gonna have issues, and I think they're recalling about 69,000 Bolt EVs. Probably one of the disadvantages compared to ICE vehicles. I know that Tesla doesn't have this issue, but it worries me that other auto manufacturers might. But yeah, I think this is great news for Tesla stock and any other auto manufacturers that aren't GM. But yeah, let's just quickly go through GM stock, right? But yeah, spoiler alert, I don't like this stock, but they are trading at a really cheap PE ratio, which is why, Warren Buffett owns this stock. But what I really don't like about this stock is, first, they have less cash than debt. Not only that, they have no free cash flows for the last couple of years, and their OPEX is probably way too high because this is a car company that has to own a lot of plants and equipments and also pay a lot of workers to build the vehicles, which is why I don't really like car companies besides Tesla, because for those that don't know, Tesla has full self-driving, which is probably one of the most innovative technologies today. And I seriously don't see any other companies competing at their level in terms of full self-driving, but I have to say that they do make good net income, and that's probably the reason why Warren Buffett owns it. Their forward PE ratio is only at 8.3, meaning it's going to take you 8 years to get 100% ROI if they continue to bring these numbers for, eternity. And not only that, their PEG ratio is less than 1, which means that this is a really cheap stock. But long term, I feel like technology is going to disrupt these companies, but I seriously don't see GM being one of those companies, unfortunately. Short term, I feel like you can still make money, but, if you're going to hold this forever, I don't think this is the stock to be in. So that's my quick opinion on it. That wraps up for this video. If you're interested in buying crypto, please head into the description box down below and click on my referral links so we can both get a small cash bonus once you sign up and make some trades. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm, and if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe and hit that bell notification so you can see my videos every single week. That's pretty much it, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.